Some horror movies are terrifying because they are fake, and some are terrifying because they are not. Wolf Creek is one of those. A movie about friends stranded in the middle of nowhere, hunted by a sadistic killer with no mercy. But here is the part most people don't know. The story is rooted deeply in reality, and it's far more horrifying than the movie ever showed. The year was 2005 when Wolf Creek hit theaters, shocking audiences with its brutal violence and relentless dread. But the director, Greg McLean, didn't pull the story from thin air. He was inspired by the real-life crimes of two of Australia's most notorious killers, Ivan Milat and Bradley John Murdoch, men whose actions turned the Australian outback into a place of fear. Let's start with Ivan Milat, the man the press would come to call the backpacker killer. In the early 1990s, young travelers from around the world were hitchhiking across Australia, drawn by its beauty and vast wilderness. But some of them never made it to their destination. They simply vanished. Between 1989 and 1993, 7 bodies were discovered deep inside the Belanglo State Forest in New South Wales. All were backpackers, shot, stabbed, decapitated, or mutilated beyond recognition. Some showed signs of torture. Others had been posed or humiliated after death. And in nearly every case, there was evidence that the victims had been restrained and hunted, as if the killer was playing a sick game. The police launched one of the largest manhunts in Australian history. It led them to Ivan Milat, a road worker and loner with a fascination for weapons and violence. When they raided his home, what they found was chilling. Camping gear and belongings from multiple missing victims. Firearms matching the bullets found in the bodies. And souvenirs, trophies, Milat had kept from his kills. In 1996, Milat was convicted of 7 murders, but investigators believe the true number may be much higher. He was sentenced to life in prison, where he remained unrepentant until his death in 2019. But Milat's story is not the only one that shaped Wolf Creek. The film also draws heavily from the 2001 murder of Peter Falconio, a British backpacker traveling through the outback with his girlfriend, Joanne Lees. Late one night on a desolate stretch of road in the Northern Territory, the couple was flagged down by a man claiming they had car trouble. That man was Bradley John Murdoch. Once they stopped, Murdoch pulled a gun. Peter Falconio was shot and never seen again. Joanne Lees was bound and assaulted, but she managed to escape into the darkness of the outback, hiding for hours before flagging down help. Falconio's body has never been found, but Murdoch was convicted based on DNA evidence and sentenced to life in prison. The parallels to Wolf Creek are undeniable. A group of trusting travelers stranded in the vast Australian wilderness. A friendly stranger who turns out to be a predator. And a desolate, lawless landscape where cries for help vanish into the endless silence. But the most disturbing part is not the brutality, it's the setting. The outback is massive, nearly 3 million square miles of empty, unforgiving land. Once you are out there, there is no signal, no police in a nearby town. If you run into someone with dark intentions, there's almost no escape. It's in this terrifying reality that Wolf Creek finds its power, because it taps into a fear that is all too real. The fear that, far from civilization, no one can hear you scream. So next time you watch Wolf Creek and see Mick Taylor smile before the killing begins, remember this: that evil was not born in a screenwriter's mind. It was born in the real world, in men who hunted humans for sport, who preyed on the lost and the vulnerable, and who turned the endless outback into their personal killing grounds. And perhaps the most chilling truth of all is that the outback has not changed. It's still there, still empty, still lawless, and somewhere out there, someone might still be watching the roads, waiting for their next victim. If you want more terrifying real stories hiding behind horror movies, stick around, because the next one may make you think twice before you ever travel again.